Hello everyone, this is Debbie Henderson from Debbie's Designs. Welcome to my afternoon tea time and a card. This is episode number 24. Now just a little refresher for some of you guys that are new on my page. When COVID-19 started, I did a lot of Stamp With Me classes with you guys just to keep you guys stamping and busy. And now I've gone back to my afternoon tea time and a cards. I do that once a week, every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern time. And this is just something that you bring a drink and a snack to and just watch me demonstrate. And I usually make 1 or 2 projects with you. So today I am actually going to create a technique card with you. Hello everyone, I can see you all jumping on. I'm going to give you all of the supplies I'm using first. And if you want to replicate my card, because I know you're going to fall in love with it, you can go back and replay the video. And I am going to list all of the sizes of the cardstock that I used after I'm done the video. So for today, I'm using Forever Ferns stamp set. I'm using the So Sentimental stamp set. And I'm also using the Forever Flourishing dies. For ink colors, I'm using Shaded Spruce, Just Jade, Mango Melody, and Whisper White. These are different colors than the card I'm going to show you. I just wanted to mix it up a little bit. And let me bring in the cardstock layers I'm going to be using. I've got Soft Suede 11 by 4 1/4 scored at 5 1/2. I have Whisper White for stamping. I have Basic Black. This one measures 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. And then I have 4 pieces of soft suede. They're all the same. And those measure 3/4 of an inch by 5 1/2. So let me get started. I'm going to show you the card. I'm going to be using the new die cutting and embossing machine today too, if you haven't seen it yet. So I am doing a technique today. I'm actually doing the chalkboard technique. I hadn't done it for a long time, so I thought I'd do that for you today. And this is the card I'm going to be creating. It's got the cute little mesh ribbon. I got a big bow there in the front. And then all of the stamping. I'm going to show you how to do the chalkboard part. So let's get started. First, what I'm going to do, I think, is just do all of the stamping. And that way I can get the die cutting and embossing machine out of the way. And if you want to replicate the card the way I did it here with the different colors, I used Magenta Madness, Just Jade, and Mint Macaron for my ink colors. Okay, I'm going to dig out all of my inks. I'm so glad you guys are here today. Okay, I'm going to do this funky little flower. This reminds me of the blueberry plants that I have in my garden. So I'm using Mango Melody on that image. I'm going to do that twice. The larger leaf I'm going to do with the Shaded Spruce. So I'm doing 2 of everything. Oh, I like the combination there already. And then for the smaller leaf, I'm going to do Just Jade. And I'm going to go ahead and bring the die cutting machine out. Let's see, I'm all done with the ink pads. I'm going to put those away. So I did have somebody ask if I had listed the supplies I'm using so you can stamp along. The beauty of the afternoon tea time and a card is I actually just demonstrate for you, and you can copy the projects later if you want to. This is more of a faster paced video. Now, if you have not seen our new machine, I'm just going to explain a few things about it. Let me get situated. So this is our machine. You can see here that the little platform actually folds flat for carrying, and then you just pull them out like this. Now, one thing that I did with mine, only because each of our machines comes with an Allen wrench. What happens when you put your handle on? You put your wrench away and then you forget where you put it. What I did with mine is I used washi tape and I taped it right here because you don't handle this part of the machine. You just use the handle. So my washi tape holds it in place so I know where it is. So that's one tip I wanted to share with you. And then I wanted to go over the plates. So you're going to get the platform, which is your number 1. And this is mostly used for doing your embossing folders. So number 1. Number 2 is a lot thinner. You're going to put that on top when you use your dies. Number 3, you're going to get 2 of the clear cutting plates. These are the exact same as the Big Shot that we had before. And then number 4, oh, and I meant to grab something. Hold on. Okay, number 4. This is the plate. It's gray. This is the one you're going to use with your 3D embossing folders. Now, a lot of you guys had purchased this bluish purple one that we had for about a year while we waited for our new machine to be ready. It's the same exact plate, same thickness. So if you missed out on buying this one and you were upset when we didn't have it anymore, you're going to get it with the new Big Shot. Another thing that's coming is the magnetic plate. That is going to be available on September 1st along with the machine. It's going to be thin like this so that you can just put it on top of your platform. And I am going to have a new die cutting and embossing machine special on September 1st, and I'll announce that when the time comes. So let me go ahead and bring my machine back in. And what I am finding is that these are so much easier, that the crank is a lot easier than the Big Shot was. Now let me go ahead and situate myself. I'm going to try to cut, let me see if I can do 3 at a time. So there's one leaf. And if you guys have any questions on this new die cutting machine, please let me know before September 1st, because that's when they're available to purchase. I'm working on letting you know what my special is going to be, my ordering special. Now I do need to add, so on this one I've got platform number 1, additional piece number 2, we're going to do a clear plate number 3, and then we're going to add, whoops, I should have added my clear plates on there before I started messing around. Okay, I think these are still okay. So I'm going to do 3, and it's so easy to crank. I know it's taking up a lot of room in your view, so you don't actually see the crank going, but take my word for it. And it cuts so nice, except for this one. Oh, what did I do? Look what I just did. I think I caught my tape. I'm going to have to redo that. Regroup. I don't know what I did wrong. I must have, hold on, I'm going to get some washi tape. I must have, when I moved my washi tape earlier, it looks like it didn't hold everything in place where it should have. Well, at least we got 1 out of 3 right. Let me do, hold on, let me go, I'm going to do these 2 because they're side by side. So you can see that my washi tape is actually tearing my cardstock. To me, that indicates that this machine is cutting so well that it just presses real hard into the cardstock. So I'm just going to have to re-stamp 2 of these. Okay, so I've got 2 of these. 1 of the big one. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut this little one. See, I can't even reuse the washi tape because it just presses so hard into the cardstock, which is a good thing. That means it's cutting nicely. Okay, make sure that one's lined up. let me quickly get another piece of white. Actually, I think I can fit them right on this one. Let me go ahead and dig out my ink again. I think I jinxed myself by putting my ink away. Here's the little one. I know you guys like to see when I do boo-boos anyway. You've told me that before. Okay, let's get 2 more pieces of washi. There's that one. And here's the last one. So if you're using washi tape, try not to stick it where you're going to be reusing your cardstock piece, because it looks like it's going to rip right off anyway. Okay, there's that one and the last one. So let me move this aside. I'm going to bring in all of my pieces. So you can see we have 2 of each leaf. Now let me bring the card back in, and I'm going to show you how I did the chalkboard technique. I am going to need the Big Shot one more time to do the embossing, but we'll do that last. So now I'm going to bring in the basic black. Here's my mesh ribbon. If you guys haven't seen this ribbon, let me see if I can put it over the black. Look how pretty that is, and it's very, very silvery and sparkly. It's so pretty. Let me organize myself. So I am using my Stamparatus to do the sentiment, only because I was very particular about where I wanted it on my black. So I'm going to line it up. I left it there after I did card number 1. I'm going to go ahead and use Versamark ink to ink my sentiment. Now, one little tip that I wanted to give you. We no longer sell the Stampin' Emboss Buddy. I still have mine. I still use it, but I won't be using it when I do lives because I can't sell it. So what do I do in the meantime? Because we no longer sell it, I use a used fabric softener sheet. I just run that over, and it'll remove any of the static. Now I'm going to go ahead and ink my sentiment, press it in place, and it is right in the middle even though you guys can't see it. I'm going to bring some white embossing powder. So I am going to make a little bit of noise with my heat tool. Get a little bit of powder right there. You know what I usually do when I have powder like that? If I can find my paintbrush, I have a little paintbrush here that I keep handy, and I usually just rub it across to remove that extra. Sometimes you do have little pieces that stay. Okay, now I'm going to do the heat tool. And you'll be able to see that this will turn a brighter white once it starts melting. I did have somebody that asked me to do an embossing class. I'm going to do that at some point. Right now there's just a lot going on with Stampin' Up, so I don't have time to organize a class, but I will be doing something in the future. Now look how nice and bright that is where it's starting to melt. And usually what I do is I hold it up to the light, make sure that it's nice and shiny. And that tells me that it's all heat embossed and melted. Now, while this sets, I'm going to go ahead and bring the Big Shot out. Not the Big Shot, the die cut and embossing machine. That's hard not to say Big Shot anymore. I'm using the Pinewood Planks embossing folder. And because this is one of our thicker, it's not the 3D, but it's one of our thicker, embossing folders. We're using the platform and one clear plate on this one. And what I'm going to do, you can see that the embossing folders has lines going across. I'm going to lay these all between the lines. They fit perfectly in there. Okay, let me just make sure they're all lined up. And then I'm going to run that through. So you guys can see how quickly I cranked that through. I'm telling you, it's so nice and easy to run it through. Okay, the next step, now we want the shape of the little chalkboard that I created. So I'm going to go ahead and fold my cardstock piece on the score line. I'm going to bring my trimmer in. Now I'm going to put it sideways just so I can explain what I'm doing. We need to create, let me turn this on the back, it'll be easier for you guys to see. We need to cut out a chunk right here on the end. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually put the open end at 3/4 of an inch, and I'm going to cut that to the 1 inch mark. So you can see on my ruler, the 1 inch mark is right here. If you guys have a hard time seeing your numbers, what I did on mine is I added a 1/4 inch whisper white cardstock strip on the back side. So you have the white that peeks out. So again, I'm going to line this up at 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to cut up to the 1. I'm going to flip this over and do that one more time. Up to the 1 inch. And now you can see where I've cut. Now we're going to bring it over this way up to the 1 inch mark. We're going to start at 3/4 of an inch. And we're going to go to 3.5. And look, that cuts out. Oh, I didn't press hard enough. Let me do that again. I didn't press hard enough on layer number 2. I should have gone over a couple times. And that pops right out. And there's your little chalkboard shape. Now we're going to glue these little pieces. Actually, we're going to glue the black on there first, but I need to finish the chalkboard technique. So that's where the whisper white ink comes in. We never have a chalkboard that's completely black and clean. We need to dirty it up. So I'm just going to take a tissue. I'm going to dip into the white ink. And I'm just going to add some ink around the sentiment to make it look like a chalkboard. I'm not adding a lot. And I'll bring that up closer so you guys can see. So you can see that it looks like a dirty chalkboard. Very simple. Now I'm going to glue this in place. I'm going to glue that right in the center. Now I'm going to glue my little wood pieces. So you can see that these are embossed using the pine wood planks, and it looks like wood, like actual wood. Now I made these longer than what I need. I'm going to start by gluing even with the top, and then I'm just going to trim that off. And we're going to add one to the bottom. And that's going to be even with the center piece that we cut out. And you'll see our little chalkboard easel. It's an easel chalkboard. You can see that it's shaping up quite nicely. Okay, there's 2 of the pieces. Now we're going to overlap. And that's going to go all the way down, even with the leg. And we're going to cut that off. by overlapping it on top, it just gives it that 3D look. Okay, we're going to add one more. And again, that's going to be even with the top and the side. And then I'm just going to chop off the end. Okay, so there's our little chalkboard. Now I did forget to cut a piece for the inside. If you want to add a white for the inside, that's actually 4 inches by 4 1/4. I forgot to cut one for this one. Now all we have left to do is to glue all of our flowers and leaves and then the pretty bow at the end. So I'm going to start out by gluing these in place with dimensionals. Let me grab some dimensionals. And I added one over to the left-hand side. And I'm going to actually add one of the spruce ones. This one's next, and I'm trying not to cover the lettering. Then we have this one that we're going to tuck in. The second spruce. And then these two I glued flat. So I'm going to tuck this one downwards. Right here, there's a little spot. I'm going to tuck that stem right in there. Maybe. No, it's not going to go. The ribbon's going to cover that anyway. And then one more right here. I'm going to have to add a dimensional on that one. Okay, so there's my little cluster. Lastly is the mesh ribbon, and I love this stuff. It's about, let me see, 1.5 inches maybe, 1.5 inches wide. But you can just scrunch it up to make your ribbon. It's really easy to work with. So look how pretty this is. Even though it's 1.5 inches wide, when you make the bow in the middle, it just scrunches everything smaller. And it just makes a fabulous, elegant looking ribbon. So now I'm going to cut the tails at an angle. And let me just pull that in. I'm going to add a glue dot to the knot. And I'm just going to put that right where this mess is in the middle. That's going to cover up the mess. And I'm just going to try to fan these out. So there's my card for today. How simple. And like I said, you can add a white piece on the inside to stamp and do your little signature. And again, that's 4 inches by 4 1/4. So there's my 2 different colors. Again, if you tuned in late, I've got Magenta Madness, Pear Pizzazz, Just Jade. On this one, I have Shaded Spruce, Just Jade, and Mango Melody. And thanks so much for all the hearts, you guys. I'm so glad you joined me. And I have a very exciting card fold for you next week. I worked on it today, and I'm all set for my next week's class. So I hope to see you again next Wednesday at 4 p.m. for my afternoon tea time and a card. Have a good week, everyone. See you soon.